The storm had rolled in faster than anyone expected. Sheets of rain hammered the small town like waves breaking against rock, and the wind howled through the empty streets, bending the old lamp posts that flickered against the dark sky. On that desperate night, Amelia Grant never thought her simple act of kindness, opening her modest home to a stranger and his little girl, would turn her life upside down. She could never have guessed that the man dripping wet on her porch, his arm protectively shielding his daughter from the storm, wasn't just another traveler in need. He was about to walk into her life as the man who held her future in his hands, the new CEO of the very company where she struggled every day to survive. Before we dive deeper, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the unexpected beauty of life's twists, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Journal. It helps spread these stories to more hearts around the world. Amelia lived in a quiet, two-bedroom home at the edge of town. Life had not been gentle with her. After losing her parents young and being left to raise her younger brother until he moved away, she learned to carry the weight of responsibility. She worked at Crawford & Co., a mid-sized publishing firm that was her dream job at first, but had slowly turned into a battlefield of office politics and constant threats of layoffs. She was just another mid-level editor there, exhausted, underpaid, and overlooked. That night, she had been sitting by her window with a cup of tea, watching the rain slam down when she saw headlights flicker through the sheets of water. The car pulled up but struggled, tires spinning uselessly in the mud near her driveway. Curiosity and something deeper, an instinct, pushed her to step outside. That was when she saw him. A tall man, maybe in his late 30s, soaked from head to toe, carrying a little girl no older than 7. The girl's arms clung tightly to his neck, her face buried against him, her light brown hair plastered to her cheeks. The man's eyes, stormy blue, intense yet weary, met Amelia's with a mixture of apology and desperation. "I'm sorry to bother you," he said, his voice low and rough, nearly drowned out by the storm. "Our car's stuck. We need somewhere safe for the night. A motel nearby, anything." But Amelia knew all the motels were miles away, and in this weather, reaching them was impossible. She looked at the little girl, shivering in his arms, and without thinking twice, she said, "Come in, please. You both shouldn't be out here." Inside, she quickly lit the fireplace, grabbed blankets, and handed him a towel. The little girl, whom he introduced as Chloe, warmed her small hands by the fire while Amelia prepared a quick meal of soup and grilled cheese. It wasn't much, but to Chloe it was a feast. The father thanked her quietly, his tone heavy, like gratitude weighed down by pride. He introduced himself simply as Nathan. He didn't offer much else, and Amelia didn't pry. Something in his manner told her he carried burdens too heavy for strangers to touch. As the night went on, the warmth of the fire filled the silence between them. Amelia caught herself watching the way Nathan knelt to dry Chloe's hair, the gentleness in his rough hands, the way he whispered soft reassurances that everything would be fine. It stirred something inside her, an ache she had long buried, a longing for family, for warmth, for something more than the cold grind of her lonely life. What Amelia didn't know was that Nathan wasn't just a struggling single father. He was Nathan Hale, the successor to Crawford & Co. After the founder's passing, the man set to take the reins of the company where she worked. He had come to town quietly, preferring to see the place through fresh eyes, away from the noise of the boardroom. But none of that mattered that night. To Amelia, he was just a father doing his best for his daughter. The next morning, the storm cleared, leaving the world washed and bright. Nathan insisted on thanking Amelia, offering to pay her for her kindness. She refused, brushing it off with a smile. "It was just one night," she said. "Anyone would have done the same." But Chloe hugged her tightly before they left, whispering, "Thank you for keeping us safe." Those small words stayed with Amelia all day. When she returned to work on Monday, the office buzzed with tension. Rumors had spread. Crawford & Co. had a new CEO arriving, and no one knew what changes were coming. Amelia tried to keep her head down, focusing on the stack of manuscripts waiting for her attention. The company had been her lifeline, but it had also drained her spirit. She often wondered how much longer she could hold on before it broke her. And then, everything shifted. The conference room doors opened, and in walked Nathan Hale. Amelia froze, her pen slipping from her hand. There he was, no longer the weary father at her fireplace, but a powerful figure in a crisp navy suit, commanding the attention of every person in the room. Her heart raced, not from attraction, though he was undeniably striking, but from the sheer shock of realization. The man she had sheltered, the man whose daughter had slept on her couch, was now her boss. Nathan's gaze swept the room, professional and sharp, but for a brief moment, his eyes softened when they met hers. He didn't acknowledge her publicly, and Amelia was grateful. The last thing she wanted was attention in a place where envy and whispers thrived. Still, she couldn't stop replaying that night in her mind. The storm, the firelight, Chloe's laughter. In the days that followed, Nathan began restructuring the company. Many feared layoffs, and Amelia braced herself for the worst. But something unexpected happened. Nathan noticed her work. He singled out her edits, praised her insight, and once, when she stayed late to meet a deadline, he stopped by her desk. "You have a rare gift," he said quietly. "Don't let this place dim it." Those words lit a spark inside her she hadn't felt in years. Yet whispers followed. Colleagues noticed Nathan's subtle respect for her, the way he seemed to listen when she spoke. Rumors grew cruel, claims that Amelia must have caught his attention in ways beyond her work. The toxic gossip gnawed at her, dredging up old insecurities. She tried to ignore it, but one afternoon she overheard two coworkers sneering about how she was, probably cozying up to the boss. The sting of it nearly broke her. That evening, she left the office in tears. Nathan found her in the lobby, her eyes red, her hands shaking. He didn't ask what was wrong. He simply walked her outside, the city glowing under the golden hour light. "You don't have to prove yourself to anyone," he said softly. "Your worth isn't defined by their jealousy." The sincerity in his voice made her believe him, even when she wanted to crumble. Weeks passed, and Amelia's relationship with both Nathan and Chloe deepened. Nathan occasionally brought his daughter to the office, and Chloe would run to Amelia with the same warmth as that first night. Their bond grew natural, unspoken, as though fate had drawn them together. But life wasn't done testing Amelia. When the company faced a critical crisis, a publishing deal on the verge of collapse, she was thrust into the heart of it. Everyone doubted her ability, but Nathan trusted her judgment. Against all odds, Amelia salvaged the deal, not through power or strategy, but through compassion and integrity, by believing in the value of the stories others dismissed. In that moment, Nathan didn't see her as just another employee. He saw her as the woman who had sheltered him and his daughter, the woman whose quiet strength had saved not only them but now the company itself. One late afternoon, as sunlight streamed through the tall glass windows of his office, Nathan finally let the walls fall. He confessed how he had lost his wife years ago, how raising Chloe alone had been the hardest and most beautiful battle of his life. Amelia listened, her heart aching for him, yet filled with admiration. She realized then that his power was not in his title or wealth, but in his resilience, his devotion as a father, his capacity to still believe in love despite the pain. And as for Amelia, Nathan saw what no one else had, the woman who had faced loneliness yet never let it harden her heart. The woman who still chose kindness, even when the world offered her little in return. The story of that stormy night became their quiet secret, the foundation of something deeper than either had expected. A chance encounter, born of rain and fear, had led them to discover what both had been missing all along, not just companionship, but hope, trust, and the promise of new beginnings. If this story touched your heart and reminded you of the beauty of unexpected kindness, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Journal. Your support helps these stories reach more souls who need them. And before we end, here's a special request: drop a comment below with one word that describes what kindness means to you. Because sometimes the smallest act of kindness, a warm meal, a safe place to stay, can change the course of a life forever.